My wife and her lover stole my company, but my secret plan won. I caught my wife whispering his name in our bedroom. Not mine, that was the day I knew our marriage was a lie. If this story moved you, don't forget to drop a comment, and subscribe to Viora for more unforgettable stories that speak to the heart. My name's Landon Cooper, 46 years old. I built a tech startup from nothing in Raleigh, North Carolina. Just me, a laptop, and a dream to make payroll software that didn't suck. 10 years later, Cooper Tech was clearing 7 figures with clients from Charlotte to Chicago. I wasn't a billionaire, but I had a nice house, a decent truck, and a wife who made every room brighter. Or so I thought. Grace was 34 when we met. A graphic designer with a quick smile and sharper wit. We crossed paths at a tech conference. She was pitching her portfolio. I was scouting talent. She teased me about my scuffed boots. I teased her about her overpriced latte. By the end of the night, we were trading stories over whiskey. A year later, we were married. The early days were golden. Grace was my rock. She'd stay up late sketching logos for my pitch decks, cheering every milestone. When Cooper Tech landed its first big client, we celebrated with cheap wine and a midnight drive to the coast. I gave her a sapphire ring, promised her the world. She said she just wanted me. I believed her. As the company grew, so did the pressure. Late nights, investor meetings, bugs in the code. Grace suggested hiring a CFO to handle the finances. "You're killing yourself." "Landon," she said, her hand on mine. "Let someone else crunch the numbers." She recommended Shane Hopkins, an old college friend with an MBA and a slick resume. I trusted her. Big mistake. Shane was 45, all charm and polished suits. He walked into Cooper Tech like he owned it, tossing around terms like liquidity and equity growth. I gave him the keys: bank accounts, investor reports, even a seat on the board. Grace vouched for him. Said he'd take us to the next level. I was too buried in code to see the red flags. Things shifted fast. Shane and Grace started working late, their heads bent over spreadsheets in her office. I catch them laughing, sharing looks I couldn't read. My gut screamed something was wrong, but I pushed it down. Grace was my wife. Shane was her friend. I wasn't that guy, the jealous type. Then the emails started. Anonymous tips sent to my personal account. Check your CFO's expense reports. Ask your wife about the Miami trip. I ignored them at first. Spam. I figured, but one night I opened my laptop, dug into the company's financials. Thousands unaccounted for, hotels, dinners, a private jet, all signed off by Shane, all linked to Grace. My chest tightened. I poured a bourbon, stared at the numbers. The next morning I confronted Grace. She was in the kitchen sipping coffee, her hair still wet from the shower. "What's this about Miami?" I asked, sliding my laptop toward her. Her eyes flicked to the screen, then back to me. "Work, Landon. Shane had a client meeting. I tagged along for design pitches. Why are you digging?" Her voice was steady, but her hands shook. I pressed. "No clients in Miami, just you two, hotels, dinners. Explain." She laughed, sharp and cold. "You're paranoid. Running a company's making you crazy. Shane's saving us. You should thank him. I didn't buy it." That night I checked her phone while she slept. A text from Shane. "Miss you, delete this." My blood turned to ice. I didn't wake her. Didn't yell, I just sat there, the screen glowing. My world cracking. The next week it got worse. Shane called a board meeting without me. I walked into the conference room, my team avoiding my eyes. Shane stood at the head, Grace beside him, her face blank. "Landon," he said, voice smooth. "We've voted. You're out. Conflict of interest. You'll keep your shares, but you're no longer CEO." I stared at Grace. She wouldn't meet my gaze. "You're in on this?" I asked, my voice low. She shrugged her lips tight. "It's business, Landon. You're holding us back." They'd used a clause I'd signed years ago, buried in the bylaws, a loophole. My own pen had signed my death warrant. Security escorted me out. My office, my code, my life gone. Grace filed for divorce the next day, took half the savings, the house, even my dog. I moved to a rented loft downtown. The city noise a constant hum. The betrayal burned, but I didn't break. I'd built Cooper Tech from nothing. I could rebuild. But first I needed answers. I hired a PI, a guy named Tom Vance, ex-cop with a knack for digging. "Follow Shane." I told him, and Grace. I want everything. Tom delivered in days. Photos, Grace and Shane arm in arm at a rooftop bar. Bank records. Offshore accounts siphoning company funds. Emails Shane to Grace. "Once Landon's out, we sell millions." My stomach churned. They weren't just screwing me over. They were dismantling my legacy. I could have sued, dragged them through court. But that wasn't enough. I wanted them to feel what I felt, to lose what I'd lost. And I knew how years ago I'd locked down CooperTech's core software patents under my personal name, not the company's. A precaution. Back when I was paranoid about corporate raiders, the board didn't know, neither did Shane or Grace. The software was the company's heart. Without it, they had nothing. I kept quiet. Let them think they'd won. Rented a small office, bought a new laptop, started coding. A new platform. Better, faster, leaner. I called old contacts, engineers who'd trusted me. Clients who'd hated Shane's arrogance. They listened. They signed on. Meanwhile, CooperTech was bleeding. Tom's reports showed bugs in the software, clients jumping ship. Shane was scrambling. Grace panicking. They didn't know the patents were mine. Didn't know I held the kill switch. One night my phone rang. Grace. Her voice was soft like the old days. Landon, can we talk? I messed up. I gripped the phone, my jaw tight. Talk about what you and Shane, or how you stole my company. She sighed, dramatic. It wasn't like that. Let's meet. Please, I agreed. Not because I trusted her, because I wanted to see her squirm. We met at a diner, neon lights buzzing overhead. She wore a dress I'd bought her years ago, her eyes tired. I'm sorry, she said, reaching for my hand. I pulled back. Save it, I said. What do you want? She leaned in, voice low. The software's failing, clients are leaving. Shane says we need your help. Name your price. I laughed, cold and sharp. You think I'd save you after what you did? Her face hardened. You'll lose everything too. Your shares, your name, help us or we all go down. I stood, tossing a 20 on the table. You're already down, Grace. You just don't know it yet. I walked out the diner door, slamming behind me. My truck roared to life, the city lights blurring Grace's plea. Shane's betrayal, they thought they'd broken me, but I was just getting started. This wasn't just a revenge story, it was mine, and I was writing the ending. The Raleigh skyline glowed outside my loft window, a reminder of everything I'd lost. I poured another bourbon. The ice clinking, and opened my laptop. Lines of code stared back my new software, my lifeline. Grace's voice from the diner echoed in my head. Help us or we all go down. She thought she could play me. She was wrong. I'd hired Tom Vance, my PI, to keep digging. His latest report sat on my desk, bank transfers, encrypted emails, a paper trail tying Grace and Shane to a shady investor named Victor Klein. Klein was a venture capitalist, mid-50s, with a reputation for hostile takeovers. Tom's photos showed him meeting Grace at a downtown hotel, her hand on his arm, Shane nowhere in sight. My jaw tightened. Grace wasn't just cheating on me. She was playing a bigger game. I called Tom. What's Klein's angle? I asked, my voice low. He exhaled, static, crackling. Klein's bankrolling Shane's moves, wants CooperTech's assets cheap, then he'll flip it. Grace is his leverage, keeps Shane in line, but she's pushing for a bigger cut. They're all snakes, Landon. I hung up, my mind racing. Grace, Shane, Klein, a triangle of greed. But I held the patents, the software's soul. They didn't know. Not yet. I leaned back, the bourbon burning my throat. This wasn't just about saving my company. It was about making them pay. The next morning, I met my old engineer, Nate Wheeler, at a coffee shop. Nate was 47, loyal and pissed about Shane's takeover. The team's ready, he said, sliding a USB drive across the table. New platform solid. We can launch in weeks. I nodded, pocketing the drive. Keep it quiet. Shane's got eyes. Nate smirked. He's too busy screwing up, clients are bailing. You hear about the outage last week? Lost $1 million in contracts. I didn't smile, not yet. Good, let them bleed. Back at my office, I worked nonstop coding, pitching, rebuilding my new startup. Apex Pulse was lean, but fierce. I'd poached 3 of CooperTech's best engineers, all fed up with Shane's ego. We had a shot, but I needed more than a product. I needed leverage, Tom called that afternoon. Got something big, he said. Klein's meeting Shane tonight, private club downtown, I can get you in. I hesitated. Confronting them was risky, but I needed proof, something to bury them. Do it, I said. That night I walked into the Oak Room, a members-only club with dark wood and cigar smoke. Tom had slipped me a guest pass. I wore a blazer, my boots scuffed, but deliberate. I wasn't here to blend in. I spotted Shane and Klein at a corner booth. Their voices, low glasses clinking. Grace wasn't there, odd. I slid into a nearby bar stool, ordered a whiskey, and listened. Shane's voice carried, Landon's done, patents or not, he's got no cash. We'll buy him out cheap. Klein chuckled, his voice gravelly. And Grace, she's getting greedy, handle her or I will. My blood ran cold, handle her. Klein wasn't just a player, he was the puppet master. I snapped a photo with my phone, the flash off their faces. Clear. Tom texted, "Get out." Klein's security's circling. I slipped out, the night air sharp against my skin. Back at my loft, I uploaded the photo to a secure drive. Then I checked my emails. An anonymous message. Cooper text selling, Klein's the buyer. Grace doesn't know. My pulse spiked. Grace outplayed. This was new. I called Tom, who sent this, no clue. He said burner account. But it checks out. Klein's filing papers to acquire Cooper text Shane's signing tomorrow. I leaned back, the city lights blurring outside. Grace thought she was running the show, but Klein was cutting her out. Shane was his dog now. And me, I was the ghost they'd forgotten. The next day I met Nate at our office. We're accelerating, I said. Launch Apex Pulse next week. Full press, I want Klein to choke on it. Nate grinned. You're a savage, Cooper. I didn't laugh. They took my life. I'm taking theirs. That afternoon, Grace texted Landon. I'm sorry. Shane's out of control. Can we meet alone? I stared at the screen, my gut twisting. Another trap. Or was she scared? I agreed, but not at her diner. My turf. A park bench, broad daylight. She showed up in sunglasses, her hands fidgeting. Shane's selling the company, she blurted. To Klein. I didn't know. They're cutting me out. I crossed my arms, face hard. Why should I care? You screwed me first. Her eyes welled up, but I didn't budge. I was wrong. She said, Shane used me. Klein's worse. They'll ruin everything you built. Help me stop them. I laughed sharp. Help you? You're joking. She grabbed my arm, desperate. I know about the patents. You can kill the sale. I'll give you dirt on Shane. Bank accounts, emails, everything. I pulled free studying her. Grace begging. Part of me wanted to believe her. The part that remembered her. Laugh, her touch. But that part was dead. Send me proof, I said. Then we'll talk. She nodded, hurrying off. An hour later. My phone pinged, a zip file from Grace Bank records, offshore transfers, Shane's signatures, enough to sink him. But one email caught my eye. From Klein to Shane Cooper, sniffing, end him permanently. My blood froze. End him. This wasn't just business, it was personal. I forwarded everything to Tom. My hands steady but my mind racing. Klein wasn't just a shark. He was a killer. That night I met Tom at a dive bar. He scanned the files, whistling low. This is dynamite. Landon, FBI could eat Klein alive, but you're in deep. They know you're a threat. I sipped my beer, the bar's neon flickering. Good, let them come. Tom leaned in. There's more. Grace is playing both sides. She's feeding Klein info on you, your new startup, your team. She's not your ally. I cursed under my breath. Grace double-crossing again. I should have known. But her files were real. Her fear was real. She was a cornered animal, and I could use that. The next morning I called Nate. Leak, Apex Pulse's demo, small press targeted. Make sure Klein sees it. Nate raised an eyebrow. You sure we're not ready? Do it. I said I want them scared by noon. Tech blogs were buzzing. Cooper's back. Apex Pulse challenges. Cooper Tech. Shane called, his voice tight. Landon, what the hell? You're tanking our stock. I smirked, leaning back in my chair. Your stock. Shane, not mine. He cursed, then softened. Let's deal. You keep the patents, we merge. Partners again. I hung up. Partners. He'd lost his mind, but his panic was music. Cooper Tech stock was crashing. Clients fleeing. Klein's deal was crumbling. And Grace, she was silent. Too silent. That night, Tom called. Klein's moving, hired muscle. They're watching your loft. You need to disappear. I didn't run. I loaded the patent files onto a secure server, backed up Grace's dirt, and waited. If Klein wanted a fight, he'd get one. My phone buzzed. Grace again. Landon. I'm at your loft. I'm scared. Klein knows I talked. I didn't reply. Grabbed my keys. Drove to a motel, checked my laptop. Tom's tracker showed 2 cars outside my loft. Klein's men. Grace was there, but was she bait or a victim? I called Tom. Get eyes on her now. He grunted, already on it. But Landon, there's something else. Shane's gone dark. Left town. Klein's cleaning house. My grip tightened on the phone. Shane running, Grace trapped. Klein hunting, and me holding the match to burn it all down. This revenge story wasn't just about my company anymore. It was about survival. I checked my watch. Midnight, time to move. The motel room smelled of stale coffee and cheap carpet. My laptop glowed, the screen showing Tom's live feed. 2 black SUVs parked outside my loft, their engines idling. Grace's text burned in my mind. I'm scared Klein knows I talked. Was she bait or was she really running from Klein? Either way, I wasn't going back. Not yet. I had the patents, Grace's files, and a plan to end this. I called Tom. My voice low. What's her status? He grunted, the sound of traffic in the background. Grace is inside your loft alone. Far as I can tell, Klein's guys are waiting. No sign of Shane. Guy's a ghost. I leaned back, the motel's thin walls creaking. Shane vanished. Grace cornered Klein, closing in. I opened the secure server, double-checked the patent files. Cooper Tech's software was mine legally, irrevocably. Klein could buy the company, but without the patents it was a husk. Grace's zip file was my Ace Bank records emails, proof of Shane's theft. Enough to bury them. But Klein's email to Shane and him permanently changed the game. This wasn't just about money, it was life or death. I texted Nate, my lead engineer. Apex Pulse demo goes live tomorrow, full blast. Press clients, everyone. He replied instantly. You sure Klein's watching? Let him watch, I typed. We're done hiding. I packed my laptop, grabbed my truck keys, and slipped out the motel's back door. The Raleigh night was humid, the city's pulse steady. I drove to a storage unit I'd rented months ago, a precaution when Grace started acting strange. Inside, a safe held backups of my code, a burner phone, and $10,000 in cash. I wasn't running, but I was ready. Tom called as I locked the unit. Trouble, he said. Grace just left your loft. Klein's guys tailed her. She's heading downtown. Looks spooked. Follow her. I said I'm moving. I drove to a parking garage near Apex Pulse's office. My truck's engine, a low growl. The burner phone buzzed, a voicemail from an unknown number. I played it, my blood chilling. Shane's voice strained. Landon. It's me. Klein's out of control. He's got Grace, wants the patents. Don't trust her. She's still playing you. Meet me at the old warehouse midnight. Come alone. I stared at the phone, my pulse hammering. Shane back from the shadows. Grace caught by Klein. Or was this another trap I didn't trust? Shane didn't trust. Grace didn't trust the air I was breathing. But I needed answers. I texted Tom, warehouse midnight. Shane's there. Grace too. Maybe bring backup. He replied, you're nuts on it. I spent the next hour prepping, uploaded Grace's files to a cloud server, shared access with Tom and a lawyer I'd hired just in case. If Klein wanted a fight, he'd get one on my terms. At 11:30, I drove to the warehouse, an abandoned textile mill on Raleigh's outskirts. The lot was dark, the air thick with rust and silence. I parked a block away, my boots crunching on gravel. Tom met me behind a rusted dumpster, his face grim. Shane's inside. Alone from what I see. No sign of Grace or Klein's crew. But I don't like it. I nodded, checking the burner phone. No new messages. Stay close, I said. Slipping inside the warehouse was a maze of broken machinery and shadows. A single bulb flickered, casting Shane's silhouette against a crate. He looked rough, unshaven, suit, wrinkled eyes darting. Landon, he called, voice hoarse. You came. I stepped into the light, hands loose but ready. Where's Grace? He shook his head, pacing. Klein's got her. Took her this morning. He's losing it. Thinks you're tanking his deal with Apex Pulse. I studied him, my gut screaming trap. Why should I believe you? You stole my company. Screwed my wife. Shane flinched, his hands up. I know I'm scum, but Klein's worse. He'll kill her, Landon. Kill us both. Give him the patents and we walk. I laughed, cold and sharp. You think I'd hand over my life's work? You're dumber than I thought. His face twisted and he reached into his jacket. I tensed, but he pulled out a USB drive, tossing it at my feet. Proof, he said. Klein's orders. Hits on you, Grace me. He's cleaning house. I didn't move the drive, glinting on the concrete. Why betray him now? Shane's eyes darkened. Grace, I love her. Klein's using her. I can't let her die. I almost laughed. Love from the guy who gutted me. But before I could speak, tires screeched outside. Headlights cut through the warehouse windows. Tom's voice crackled in my earpiece. Klein's here. 4 guys armed, get out too late. The doors burst open and Klein strode in, flanked by 3 men with guns. Grace trailed behind, her wrists bound, her face bruised. My chest tightened. She wasn't bait. She was a prisoner. Klein smirked, his silver hair gleaming under the bulb. Cooper, you're predictable. Patents. Now I met his eyes steady. Let her go first. He laughed, nodding at a guard. The man cut Grace's ropes and she stumbled forward. Her eyes locked on mine. Landon. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't know. Shut up, Klein snapped, raising a pistol. Drive Cooper, or she's first. I glanced at Shane, his face pale, then at Grace, her hands trembling. The USB drive was still at my feet. Proof, Shane had said. But of what, his loyalty? Or another lie? I knelt slow, picking up the drive. Klein's men tensed, but I held it up. This what you want? I asked, my voice calm. Klein's eyes narrowed. Toss it, I didn't. Instead, I crushed it under my boot, the plastic snapping. Klein cursed his gun, swinging toward me, but Grace moved faster, lunging at him, clawing his face. A shot rang out and she screamed, hitting the floor. Blood pooling from her shoulder, I charged, tackling the nearest guard. His gun skidded away as we hit the concrete. Pain flared in my ribs, but I swung my fist, cracking his jaw. Shane dove for Klein, but a guard caught him, slamming him against a crate. Tom burst in his own gun blazing, taking down one of Klein's men. The warehouse was chaos, gunfire shouts, metal clanging. I scrambled to Grace, dragging her behind a crate. Her face was pale, her breathing shallow. Landon, she gasped, the files. I sent you. Use them. I pressed my hand to her wound, blood warm against my skin. Stay with me, I growled, but her eyes fluttered. Tom shouted, Landon, move! I looked up. Klein was gone, his last guard dead. Shane was on the floor groaning, his arm twisted. Sirens wailed in the distance, Tom's back up too late. I carried Grace outside, her weight heavy in my arms. Tom called for an ambulance, his face grim. She's bad, Landon, Klein's gone. Shane's alive, but he's not talking. I knotted my throat tight. Grace's files, the patent's apex pulse. It was all I had left. The ambulance arrived. Medics rushing to her, I stepped back, blood on my hands, the night swallowing me. Days later, Apex Pulse launched. The press aided up new software, new vision. Landon Cooper's comeback. Cooper Tech's stock tanked, Klein's deal dead. The FBI raided his offices. Grace's files. The final nail, Shane turned state's evidence, spilling everything. Klein was arrested, charged with fraud, conspiracy, attempted murder. Grace survived. Barely. She called from the hospital, her voice weak. Landon, I was wrong. Can we try again? I hung up, no words left. She'd betrayed me, played me, but she'd also saved me in that warehouse. Did that balance the scales? I didn't know. I sat in my new office, the city lights sprawling below. Apex Pulse was thriving, my team loyal, my name clean. But the victory felt hollow. Shane's plea. Grace's blood. Klein's smirk. They haunted me. I'd won, but at what cost? A package arrived that morning. No sender inside, a single note. You're welcome, S. Shane. Someone else, I burned it. The ashes falling like snow. Some debts don't need answers. Some fights don't need winners. Did I go too far, or not far enough? Should I have saved Grace, or let her fall? What would you have done? Like what you heard? Hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Viora, because the next story might just be your favorite one yet.